Good morning and welcome to Swechotv. This is the hot seat coming to you live every Monday to Friday. And thank you so much for keeping it live here. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that, your effort. Of course, I would encourage you to be here on a daily basis so that we have got things to discuss. And of course, you don't miss any discussion that we are having here as a greatest team. Now, we see that on yesterday there was some, of course, court ruling yesterday that was on the Right Honorable, the former governor of Migori County, that's Obado, and of course other two individuals. This is a case that has taken almost 8 years, up to date, up to yesterday, until now the final judgment had to be, and until some ruling had to be made, of course. Now, I know this is something that people have been waiting, of course, and when you look at Sharon, the Otieno who was buried, this is something that also it has taken long, but of course we say that in as much as these things will take long, but of course there must be the final days of each and everything. I know perhaps that there are those people who may not know who is this Zachary Okoth, but let me just take you, give you a brief of his own history and see on how these things, on who has he been ever before, and how has he been doing some of his duties, of course. Let me just give you perhaps a brief in matters of education, where he joined Kenyatta University and graduated with a Bachelor of Education, second class, upper division, and of course he also graduated with a master degree. He later earned a master on business administration, the MBA in strategic management from the same institution. Of course, we would say that that's actually a very nice movement. So, following his graduation, Obado worked as a qualified teacher registered at the TSC. He taught accounting and eventually rose from the ranks to become the school principal at Chunya Secondary School before leaving the education sector to join politics. We say that that's also a very nice movie. So most of these leaders that we always have here, you realize that perhaps most started their journey as teachers, or rather mostly we talk of them as teachers. Later on, they change into some things. Now, Zachary Okoth Obado is a Kenyan politician and the former two-term of Migori County. He served as a governor from 2013 to 2022, and of course, you see, that's a period of around 10 years while serving at that particular sector as of course as a governor. Remember, after him, then it was Honorable Chilayak who is serving up to date as the governor of Migori County. Now, on some of his cases, of course, that rose in between, you realize that on the crime scene, that's of course Sharon Otieno, who was 7 months pregnant with Obado's child at the time, was abducted, raped, and of course brutally stabbed. This is something, when we talk of a child, that's of course Obado's child, we say this is something that was confirmed through a DNA test that ran 99.99%, proving that that was of course his son. Now, following the high-profile verdict delivered by the High Court judge, that's of course Cecilia Githia, Obado's word was cancelled. If you look at that yesterday, we later have a look at that. Now, the motive of this, the prosecution established that Obado sought to eliminate Otieno to prevent her from exposing their intimate relationship and her pregnancy to the public. That's also one of the cases or other issues that were mentioned. Now, to the co-accused, alongside Obado, his former personal assistant Michael Juma Oyamo, and the former Migori County clerical officer Caspalo Biero was also convicted of the murder. Now, the court ruled that Obado Ubado masterminded and funded the execution of the crime, while his aides provided logistics and concealment in that particular journey. Of course, the process of ending the life of Sharon. Now, let's just have a look at maybe perhaps the political background of Obado, Zachary Okoth Obado. Before his downfall, Obado was a powerful political figure in southern Nyanza, transitioned from a teacher to a school principal, just as I said earlier, and of course to a trade unionist in the sugarcane sector, and eventually becoming Migori's inaugural governor. We saw that during his service, of course, beyond the murder conviction, Obado and his children face a separate ongoing legal battle initiated by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission regarding the alleged misappropriation of 235 million from the Migori County government. Those are just some of the key issues that we are looking for. Again, you may also be asking yourself who is this Sharon Otieno, and how was her journey as far as, and how did they come to perhaps have to meet with the governor? By her time of demise, she was 26-year-old, and of course she was a Kenyan student at the university level who was pursuing like a diploma in public health at the Rongo University, and of course she was also a mother of 3 young children, and her family deeply supported her to ensure that at least her dream could come through by, of course, chipping in and sponsoring her own education to ensure that at least she has got a smooth journey while pursuing her career. Now, we can say that in as much as, of course, we would see these things happening, of course, in as much as also we would be having a cases in some cases, in some scenarios, then we say that there must be, of course, a beginning of this journey. Now, there's a man, of course, that's a Daily Nation reporter called Barack Oduor. Is one of the perhaps the key individuals who are present during the perhaps I could say the process of abduction, and perhaps when this journey started of abduction, he was actively involved, and he is one of the people who rather reported this issue. And again, rather than making, perhaps apart from making it to the public, he worked, or rather he has been providing like much of information as far as this case was concerned, on how the journey began, and how he found himself being involved in that particular case. Let's just have a look at what he had to say earlier on, then see on how the case also mattered to him, rather to the public.
It was about 3 to 4 weeks ago. That one could qualify to be a month ago. I was in my workstation within Homa Bay town. This particular person called Lawrence Muller. Lawrence Muller is a former MCA of Kanyadoto. In Kanyadoto is a ward within Homa Bay County. He came and told me that he has a friend who wants my help as a journalist. This is the first day I interviewed Sharon. On this day I took several of these photos, and I took photos of WhatsApp conversations. So I asked the lady again, so you've brought all this, you have all this evidence. When did the governor supported you last financially? Because you claim the governor has abandoned you. She told me about 2 to 3 weeks ago, the governor gave me about 100,000 shillings. Then I told her, then the governor has not abandoned you, because if somebody gave you 300,000, if somebody gave you 100,000 about 2 to 3 weeks ago, how does that one now result to abandonment? She said, no, you do not understand how the governor was treating me. This matter of 100,000 and what was nothing. I could get any amount I wanted from the governor. I could even cheat him, I'm sick. He could give me even 2 to 300,000. She played for me her recording. The recording was between the governor and her. They were speaking in vernacular. The governor was pleading with her to do an abortion. And she was hesitant. The governor was telling her, no, if you want to be a good girl, you should just do what I've told you. I'm going to give you money to ensure that you have done abortion. You know, I'm a big person. I cannot endure such kind of shame. Somebody called me around 10. The person identified himself as the governor of Migori. I asked him, where have you gotten my number? He told me, see, I've gotten your number from my friend. Then I asked him, are you aware of this lady called Sharon? He told me, yeah, I know her. Sharon claims that she's pregnant because of you and you've abandoned her. She told me that that is a matter I can neither agree or deny. He told me that particular lady wants to blackmail me with the pregnancy matter. And so because of that, all this matter you will be dealing with through my personal assistant. Sharon told me that the governor of Migori, Obado, through his personal assistant, Michael Oyamo, wants to meet us. We went with Sharon to Rongo Town. On reaching Rongo Town, I suggested that we have a meeting at a hotel called Grasha. Then we saw two men standing by the roadside. Sigari ka park sideways. Venye amefungua tu mlango hivi, mtu mmoja akaingia pali pake venye alikaa next to Sharon. Mtu mwingine akakuja akanishongeza forcefully hivi, akafunga mlango, gari ikatoka. Gari ikatoka few meters, ndio akasema, they started with me eti, funga simu yako. These guys had weapons. And the other guy who was sitting next to Sharon was asking her, how have you known this guy? And the co-driver was saying, you guys have ever wanted to see the governor? We are taking you to see him. You do not need to get worried. Those ones were the last conversations before I jumped out of the moving car. When the vehicle went some meters, they stopped. The two people who came was this person who was next to me. Alitoka nje na yule co-driver. Yule jamaa alikuwa na Sharon ni kama alibaki tu na yeye kwa gari. They came running towards me. Alafu nikamka ndio nikakimbia. I thought they could not execute her. Huh?
Of course, that's just one of the journalists, Barack Odur, who was telling us on how this thing, the entire team worked, or detailing how he and the late Rongo University student were lured and abducted on 3rd September 2018. Now, let's just have a look at some of the key details from his own account. When we talk of the meeting, he stated that Sharon contacted him regarding the relationship with the Migori County Governor, Obado. And of course, they went to town to meet the governor's personal assistant, Michael Oyamo. So on this abduction, he has stated that after leaving a hotel, they were lured toward a waiting car. Of course, where there were some men who forced them inside this car. He has stated that he escaped, and of course, he only managed to leap out of the moving vehicle near Nyangweso Market. Nyangweso Market is alongside the Homa Bay County. Of course, it's between Homa Bay County to Homa Bay to Kisumu Highway. Of course, the road, sustaining injuries before reporting the abduction to the police. But of course, Sharon's body was found near Kodera Forest. That's of course next day. That's of course still in Homa Bay County. Now, this is of course these are some of the scenario, the information that he has